So in the part of our today's session, we are going to continue with few more application services. So let's get started on this quickly. So we have seen what is AWS Active Directory integration, and then we learned about the consolidated billing. We also learned about the transcoder, Kinesis, resources and tagging, SNS, SQS, SWF. So we have seen these of the topics. So today we are going to start off with the API gateway and then the VPC direct connect and the peering. Okay, so the first is about the API gateway. Now we all know what is API or maybe not. So let me give you a small introduction what happens actually with the API. So if you have seen how the websites of this flight bookings do work, right? So we do have a lot of websites like Clear Trip, Make My Trip, Yatra, Go Ibibo, and a lot more, right? So each of these websites actually what do they do? So they actually get connected with the airlines, right? So let's put it across like this. Yeah. So we as an end user, we need to find out how many specifically we are planning to book a flight ticket. So what do we basically do? We go down to the websites like, let's say it's Clear Trip, Make My Trip, or maybe Go Ibibo, or maybe Yatra, or some more websites, right? So what do these websites are basically doing it out? So these websites are basically help me to get through the appropriate flight information. Now, who is actually giving them the flight information? Basically, they sometimes get it from all the airlines. Right, so it could be something like this. So we have different airlines like Indigo, we have Go Air, we have Vistara, we have SpiceJet, right? So these are all the different types of airlines we have. Now it becomes a really difficult challenge for these airlines to directly expose their database. So they directly don't do it. So they expose it in the form of API, which is being given to end users, right? So with the APIs that have been opened up by these airlines, now I'll be able to go ahead and check out what are the number of seats available, or if the seat is available or not in the Indigo flight. Now it really becomes difficult if I want to go ahead and check what is the price in Indigo, what is the price in Go Air, what is the price in Vistara, what is the price in SpiceJet. So maybe I would just like to see the whole view at one point, right? When I go to Clear Trip and when I say I want to travel from Mumbai to Bangalore, so it is going to specifically list out all the airlines. So whatever is the flight rate with Indigo, what is the flight rate with Go Air, what is the flight rate with Vistara, and what is the flight rate with the SpiceJet, right? So it is basically sending the query to all the 4 different airlines, and each of these airlines have actually opened up something called as API, right? So they have actually given us access to the database in the form of API. So the moment I'm going to hit the request in the Clear Trip is going to send in 4 to 5 different requests to all the different airlines at one shot, and then it's going to retrieve all the information and it's going to show me up. So that's the reason we are able to sometimes see that it says waiting for few more flights to get information on the progress bar. So in this case, I have given up certain number of parameters. So what are they? Like I would be giving from to date of travel and the class, right? So whether it's economic class or a business class, something as such. So we just give only these three information and number of people. Some number of people is required. Yeah. So number of people. So it is 1, 2, or 3 of them. So we just give pass on these specific information, and what does these sites do? They basically send this request in the request to this all different airlines. Now when they have opened up the API, they have also given up certain number of parameters. Like let's say if I say the API is open up like this: https colon indigo dot goindigo.in slash, and then here we may need to pass the parameters, like something like it would be, let's say, booking slash. So this is the API. Then here it starts passing the parameters from, and then it comes like percentile, and then 2 equal to percentile, right? Something as this. The API gets built. So we will be actually be able to pass the parameters here, and then we will be able to retrieve the results in this case. So this is how basically the companies in the real time work. Now they don't want to give full access to the database, but yes, they would like to help us with a certain information with the help of easiest way, and that is using the APIs. And they have opened up the APIs in this way. Now the Clear Trip, Make My Trip, Go Vivo Yatra, all of these guys, what they do, they actually send a request to all the different airlines behind the scene, and I'm able to see the page with a lot of airlines and their ticket pricing, what is being available for. So that is basically the API. Now when we talk about the API gateway, so what can we do with that? So specifically these companies just open up the API, and in front of those API we are going to have the API gateway. So let's go ahead and check out what happens in the API gateway. Amazon API gateway is fully managed service that makes it easy for the developers to publish, maintain, monitor, and secure the APIs at any scale. So we can publish the APIs, we can monitor them, we can maintain them, and we can also secure those APIs at any scale. It doesn't matter if it is a one request or if it is a 1 million requests. So sometimes it can be like, let's say flights have come with a new offer saying that we are going to offer tickets at 999 rupees, or maybe let's say 1 rupee. Then what happens? They do know that there are going to be several requests that are going to come up, right? So will their APIs work? Yes, they work seamlessly at any pace, whether it's one request or 1 million requests hitting their database. It doesn't matter, because it is with the help of API gateway that they are going to do through. So they can secure those APIs at any scale. With a few clicks in the AWS Management Console, you can create an API that acts as a front door for the applications to access the data, business logic, or functionality from your backend services, such as applications running on AWS Elastic Cloud Compute, code running on AWS Lambda, or any web application. So it can be a interface to any of the web application. Now you may know about something called as XML request or something as such, SOAP XML request. So what they used to do is we actually send the data in this specific. We usually send it in this specific format, and the output result will be something like this. It starts with XML, and then in between there are some parameters, right? So it says from, let's say I have given it as Hyderabad. So it actually converts the request into this format and then is being sent to the backend. So it does understand that, okay, we need to put in these input parameters and then we have to retrieve the result. But now this is actually deprecated. XML is not being used much. The people use more about the YAML or the JSON documents for sending the data and retrieving the data. Now when the results come back, it may tell me like this: price Okay, so let's say it's of price 2500, and so it will tell me the arrival time and the departure time. Right, so all these parameters will come across when I send this specific request. Okay, so I can check out any kind of the things between, like it can be something hosted on the cloud compute, that is EC2. It can be hosted on AWS Lambda, or it can be using any of the web application as well. Now this is the API gateway, that is how it appears to be. So now I have the users who are trying to access these websites like ClearTrip or Make My Trip from the mobile or from their laptop or maybe tablet. Okay, so the moment they're going to actually go ahead and hit a request, it actually hits it on an API gateway here. And this API gateway, like the moment I have given the options here that I want to search from Mumbai to Hyderabad for this so and so date for one single passenger in a economic class. So the moment I give the option, it is actually going to go ahead and hit a request to the API gateway, and this API gateway is in turn going ahead and hitting down to all the different places. So let's say Indigo maybe have hosted up this in somewhere else in the backend at Lambda or maybe the EC2 or somewhere, right? So those from those places I can straight away get the data, and then this API gateway is going to retrieve back the results to me. So this is how the API gateway is put in between before the main service, whether it is EC2, Lambda, or something else. Now, a database can also be there in between. So, what is the API caching? Now, with the API gateway, we can also do something called as caching. So, you can enable the API caching in Amazon API gateway to cache your endpoints response. Now, as I said, sometimes it does happen that if I am going to open up an offer saying that the flight tickets are there at only 300 rupees, then what does that mean, right? It means that I am trying to attract a lot of users who are going to book across the tickets onto my platform. So now it's really a pain point. If millions or more than that of users are going to come down and check out the prices of the ticket, so will my server be able to handle? Yes, you do not. When you have an API gateway, you don't have to worry about scaling. So with caching, you can reduce the number of calls made to your endpoint. Now, let's say we all are deciding to go down to some specific location, let's say Delhi, for visiting purpose. Right now, we see that the prices of the tickets are only at 999, and when we feel okay, we together can go, and we are trying to just adjust across the time. So you are on the call, I am on the call. We all are checking out the prices of the tickets on each of the different platform where we are getting some certain offer, whether it's better to book on ClearTrip or maybe on the Make My Trip or maybe on the Go. So we are going to decide it on, right? So the moment I put across a request from any one of them, it doesn't matter if it goes from ClearTrip or Make My Trip or Go. Now eventually it has to get the result from the Indigo, Go Air, Vistar, and SpiceJet itself, right? So if I have put across a request, the same would be hitting back onto the API gateways of the Indigo, right? So it has already retrieved that request. Now, after exactly 15 minutes or maybe 30 seconds or maybe 1 minute, whenever I'm going to hit it back, it knows that this query has already been searched for. So from Mumbai to Hyderabad for so and so date, for so and so number of passengers, it has already been hit across. So it doesn't have to go back to the main server to retrieve the results and give me back. So with the help of API caching, basically we can reduce the number of calls that are going to be made to my endpoint, right? So in this case, the endpoint is Lambda or the EC2, and we can also improve the latency for the of the request to your API. When you enable the caching for a stage, API gateway caches the response from your endpoint for a specified time to live. So there is specific TTL period that they are going to define. So any request that comes to through the API gateway that gets cached onto that specific API gateway for certain period of time, which is called as TTL. API gateway then responds to the request by looking from the cache instead of making a request to your endpoint. That's why we sometimes do see that when I am trying to book the flight tickets, first time when I search, it is going to give me a price of 2,500. Second time, let's say again after 5 minutes, if I search again, it says 2,500 itself. But maybe let's say during the offer, the tickets are getting exhausted at a faster rate. So when I go to actual payment page, then it says your fare has been increased by so and so rate. This is because earlier the result was being shown from the cash. So it doesn't know what is the actual price at this point of time. So before the final booking happens, it is again going to go back to the flight or the airlines, and then it is going to confirm the final price. And there, that's where we are going to get a message like your fares have been changed, or there has been increase in the fare, or there has been a decrease in the fare. Of course, decrease in the fare is very random once in a blue moon, but yes, the increase in fares does appear up a lot of time. Right, so this is how this is going to happen. So now my users actually going to hit on the API gateway from their laptop computer tab, and then it hits actually request to the API gateway, and this API gateway is trying to get the results from the Lambda or maybe the EC2, and that results are being cached onto the gateway itself. So the next time when they send, now when I send the request from the laptop, and first time maybe it was on a mobile, so it doesn't matter, it is going to be sent across from the gateway itself. It doesn't need to go all the way until Lambda to get the results. So what all can we do with the API gateway? So API gateways are low cost and efficient. It scales effortlessly. You can throttle the requests to prevent attacks. So if you think that a specific request is coming from, a specific request is trying to come multiple times with the different parameters, or they're trying to track through what all parameters can be retrieved using this gateway or something as it, then we can actually throttle the request to prevent any kind of attack that can happen on the endpoint, like which is a database or maybe the EC2 instance or maybe the Lambda. And you can connect to the CloudWatch to log all the requests. Most important things to remember from the API gateway. API gateway also has got caching capabilities, that is just we have learned a little while, which will help us actually to increase the performance. And the API gateway is very low cost and scales automatically. You can throttle the API gateway to prevent attacks, and you can also log the results to the CloudWatch. So remember these four important points. One is we do not have to worry about scaling with the API gateway. We do not have to worry about logging, which can be done with the help of CloudWatch. We can also throttle the API request, which helps me to prevent the attacks, and it is also a low cost. Right. So that was all about the API gateway. So any questions or queries here, Divya and Rahul, from your side? How about you, Divya? Any questions or queries here? Yeah, so usually in the caching, what happens is, let's say I'm trying to search from, let's say, Mumbai to Bangalore, and I'm searching for the one person. So date of travel, this is, let's say, 10 Feb 2018. The number of people will be 1. Class will be economy. Okay, now let's say I'm trying to search these results actually in my mobile first, to just to see how many seats are available, what is the cost, or the offer is still going on or not, right? So actually I have made a request from the Make My Trip app to find out the results for Mumbai to Bangalore for the 10th of February for one person in the economic class flight tickets, right? So it does give me a display of results from the Indigo as well as from the Go Air, Vistara, SpiceJet, everything, and I am planning to make it finalization with the Indigo Airlines, let's say, which is giving me the lowest cost at 1000 rupees itself. Now, if I want to make a final booking, maybe let's say I'm not able to proceed through the app, and if I again come back to my website and then try to do it, because it will be a little more convenient when I do it on the computer rather than on mobile, because it takes sometimes it takes a little more time It depends upon the convenience or the way the app has been designed. So let's say I want to come back to my laptop and then I want to try to do the booking. So when I again put back the parameters like Mumbai, Bangalore, the date of travel, number of people in the economy class, when it searches basically from all the airlines like it go Indigo, Go Air, Vista and SpiceJet, since I have already searched on my mobile app, which means the request was initially served with the API gateway itself, right? So the API gateway is in front of these airline channels, that is Indigo or Go Air or Vistara or SpiceJet, right? So the moment I'm going to go ahead and hit their website, hit with the request for each of them, already the certain request has been catered before 5-10 minutes, right? So it says that Mumbai to Bangalore 10th February for one people has already been searched across. So it doesn't need to hit the main servers anymore, right? So the first time the request will go to the main servers, retrieve the results and keep it in the API gateway itself. And that is going to stay in the gateway for certain time. That is nothing but we call it as a caching. So the caching means we are going to make the results stay in this gateway for a certain period of time, that is based upon the TTL. And then whenever I'm going to hit it back second time from my laptop or my computer, it doesn't need to go until the last path. It just needs to check in the API gateway itself if the request was already served some time back. If yes, then it is going to give the same result back to me on my computer. So the next one is VPC Direct Connect. So what is Direct Connect? So AWS Direct Connect makes it easy to establish a dedicated network connection from a premises to the AWS. Now, if you remember from the introduction session, we did learn something about the different types of cloud and the way they are connected, right? So in the different types of cloud, I have public cloud, private cloud, and the hybrid cloud. Now, public cloud is something that is already set up within my own company and that is used only by my company members or shared between the company locations. Like let's say I have a branch in Pune, branch in Bangalore, branch in Hyderabad or somewhere else, right? So it is completely a private network that I share with my own company itself. Now, when we talk about the public clouds, companies like AWS or Azure are basically building these public clouds. And what is the advantage? We do get it. So we learned about the different advantages of the cloud, that I don't have to anymore maintain the data centers or play around with it. So I just need to go ahead and get started with any of the virtual servers, any of the storage devices or any of the databases. I can create my own private cloud, I can host the domains and I can do a lot of different things on this cloud. So if I have to move across the existing on-premise data center to the cloud, it doesn't happen in a day or so, right? So we need to connect the at initial stage. I would like to connect the my existing data center of the company with the AWS cloud. So how do we make a connection between both of them? That is using the direct connect or maybe using the VPN. So there are two ways. There is one is VPN and second is direct connect. Now we all know what are the different regions where Amazon has been set up across the world. So it is in the North Virginia, it is in Ohio, it is in Oregon, Mumbai, Seoul, Singapore, Central, Frankfurt, Ireland, London, Paris, and a lot of locations. Right now, let's say we are in India, but we are in a place which is maybe Hyderabad or maybe the Bangalore or maybe some other. So for us, Mumbai is not the nearest one, but yes, of course, the nearest one in terms of the other AWS regions, but not in terms of the physical way. So as I said, there are two ways to get connected to from the private cloud to the public cloud. So we have private cloud, which is a part in which is in my company, and now we are trying to work in the public cloud. So we are trying to shift all our resources here. So how do we get connected? We just learned that there are two ways. One is using the VPN. So when do we use the VPN? Specifically, if I don't have the feasibility of having a direct connection, I would use the VPN. So if I have got a feasibility, like let's say I'm in the Mumbai location itself, and I want to get connected to the AWS cloud for my company, then instead of VPN, I would go to prefer to go with direct connect. Now the direct connect is something like having a leased line. So we all use some internet at our home, right? Maybe it is a Airtel, maybe it is a Hathway, or maybe it is a Act, or maybe it is a Beam or something, right? So there are different types of internet service providers. Like if I want a dedicated connection, what do? I specifically go down to the Act office, or maybe for any of the specific office, I would say them I require a internet connection to my place. So what do? They specifically lay a dedicated line to my home along with the broadband router and the modem, and then I have a internet connection with a specific IP address. Similarly, in this case, in the direct connect, what happens? The companies who are the vendors for this AWS Direct Connect lay a dedicated line between my companies and the cloud premises. So as we all know, in the Mumbai we have a cloud premises. From there to my specific location where my company is existing in Mumbai, until there we can actually have a dedicated connection. So I am trying to bypass the internet, and I'm trying to directly connect to the AWS public cloud from my company using this direct connect, which has been set up. So let's check out who are the AWS Direct Connect partners in India. So here it gives the image. So cloud is trying to get, we are trying to connect to the AWS cloud from our offices, and we are a part of Asia Pacific. Okay, so in Asia Pacific we are a part of Mumbai. So here it says, so there are different types of cables which are available, like you can go for GPX, or maybe for SIFI relay, or maybe STT, GDC, or maybe the NetMagic DC2, right? So these are the different ways in which you can get connected, and these are all the partners, right? So Bharti Airtel is one of the partner. Called is a company, Cloud Global Exchange, GPX, and NetMagic Solutions. So they are showing what all methods are available with them to get connected. So Bharti Airtel has got all four methods, with the help of which you can get connected from your on premises to the AWS cloud by having a dedicated connection. Now recently Reliance Jio has also pitched into this, and they have got all four types of connections, and the Tata Communications. So there are only few of the people who have got all the four different types in here. So Vodafone also doesn't have the GPX technology yet. So they are just trying to work out on the SIFI relay, STT, GDC, and the NetMagic kind of connections. So what actually happens inside this direct connect? So this is how the setup is going to happen. Now this is the AWS data center, or AWS cloud, we can call it as. Now we cannot get directly a connection to the cloud, but yes, what they have done is they have created a DX facility center in between, right? So the companies like Airtel, companies like Vodafone, Tata, they all have a small space inside this DX facility center, right? So they are actually helping us to give a dedicated line between our company to this space which they have been got. So they are going to set up a private rack for our company in this direct connect facility center, we call it as. That is DX facility, or a direct connect facility center. So in this DX facility center, as we all know, the Airtel has got certain space, Vodafone has got certain space. Inside that space, they can actually create small racks for each companies for whom they are going to put across a dedicated line. So from my company, I'll have a dedicated line until this facility center, and the from facility I have got a cross connect which is directly connected to this AWS cloud center using the dark fiber or a very heavy fiber which can carry immense amount of data. So minimum speed that starts is with 1 Gbps and maximum you can go is up to 10 Gbps. So you can just imagine 1 Gbps of speed is 1024 Mbps. So what we currently use is just around 50 Mbps or maybe maximum of 100 Mbps what we have. But yes, couple of cities have now got 1 Gbps of internet speed. In India, like Bangalore and Hyderabad are the first cities to get the 1 Gbps connection that is provided by the ACT Internet. And usually with the AWS Direct Connect also you can get 1 Gbps or 10 Gbps, but this is not towards the internet. This is just to from your data center or from your home. You want to have a dedicated connection towards the AWS data centers. Now 1 Gbps can be purchased directly to the AWS Direct Connect partners. So we just saw through who are the partners, and then the technology that is being used is Ethernet VLAN trunking at 802.1q. One second. Okay, so that is all about the AWS Direct Connect. So any questions or queries here on this?
So,
Yeah.
can we, log in from one VPC to other VPC?
From one
It
VPC
was
to
it
other
will allow
VPC.
the yes, regarding in terms of instance prospect.
Yeah, yeah. If the VPC pairing is done, we can log in from one VPC to other. That is something that we are going to
Peering,
do.
right? Peering.
Sorry?
It's a VPC peering, right?
Yeah, it's a VPC pairing.
Direct connect mean just third party they provide the connection, right? Dedicated.
Yes, they will provide a
But
dedicated connection.
we don't need to configure anything.
We don't need to.
Should we need to configure anything in our console?
There will be something like we have to specifically give the VPC details to which we are going to get connected to, right? So because we are going to create a private space. So when I say I want to have a direct dedicated connection from my company towards the AWS data center, that's fine, but I cannot have it to the full data center, right? Because I would have set up some certain private clouds, like we have created our VPC. So I would have set up certain set of VPCs inside this AWS data center. So from this, I'm going to get connection to only that specific VPC, and from there I can start launching the resources and other things onto my AWS account.
So in sense they provide the public or private IP to us.
Yes. It
Yes.
will be completely private IPs only. The public IPs we will be getting only when I launch some resources here in this AWS cloud. But from here to here, I'll not have anything. It will be completely private
Okay.
portion.
Okay.
How about you, Divya? Any questions or doubts here? So here in this slide, we talk about the VPN and direct connect both. So VPN can be configured within minutes and are a good solution if you have an immediate need and to have a low to modest bandwidth requirements. But if we go with the direct connect, it does not involve any internet. Instead, it uses a dedicated private network connections between your intranet and the VPC. Okay, the next one we are going to learn about is the VPC peering. Okay, so what does VPC peering basically mean? Now, VPC peering is basically enabling two different VPCs to talk to each other. So it does happen sometimes that I have launched some resources in my VPC. You might have launched some resources in your VPC, and I want my instances to be able to communicate to your instances so that I can retrieve the data, or maybe you also want to retrieve some data from my EC2 instances. So how do we do it? Specifically, we can actually do it using the help of VPC peering. So VPC peering is a simple connection between the two VPCs that enable you to route traffic between them using the private IP addresses. So just with the help of the private IP addresses, I'll be able to easily communicate between the two VPCs. So instances in either VPC can communicate with each other as if they are in the same network. Now, if you remember the lab that we have done in the VPC section, so if I have got EC2 instance in 10.0.1.0 subnet or 10.0.2.0 subnet, since they are a part of same VPC, but still, even if I have to connect from one subnet to other subnet also, it's very easy. I just give the SSH minus I and then the key pair name and EC2-user at the rate, the private IP address of the second instance, and then I'm able to connect. It's so simple, right? So it seamlessly gets connected without any problem, right? So it doesn't have internet, we know, because 10.0.2.0 was basically a private subnet that we had set up, right? But still then we were able to connect because they are a part of same VPC. Now when I actually pair up the VPCs, in that case, all the subnets which exist in the VPC1 and then the VPC2, all of them behave as if they are on the same network or same place, right? So I'll be able to seamlessly connect with the help of the private IP addresses which I get for each of these instances. So you can create a VPC peering connection between your own VPCs or a VPC in another region, in another AWS accounts as well, right? So if I have got a VPC, you guys have got a VPC, and now let's say we want to pair it up, yes, we can do it. Or if I have got a VPC in my AWS account, right? Okay, even if I have multiple VPCs, I'll be able to pair them up in my AWS account itself, or I can also pair it with the AWS account of the other people. But the thing is, they should be within a single region. Now, usually in the last reInvent, they said that they are going to roll out the VPC peering between the multiple regions so that it works seamlessly, even if I have a VPC in the multiple tiers. So I'm not sure if it's still rolled out or not. Maybe we can just check it out in here. So I'll go down to the AWS Management Console. We are in the Mumbai region. I'll just log in down to Mumbai. So let me open up the VPC section. So I'll open up from here. So we already have got two VPCs in our region. One of them is AWS training that we have created, and the second is a default VPC that already exists here. So let me check out the subnets that we have in both of them. So we have got two subnets each, one in each availability zone. And let me check out the route tables. How is the routing being defined? Okay, so currently the routing is defined for both of the subnets to be part of public. So I'll just go and make 10.0.2.0 as a private here. Okay, so everything is now perfectly set across for our lab. Okay, before we go ahead and do that, so AWS uses the existing infrastructure of a VPC to create the VPC peering connection. It is neither a gateway nor a VPN connection and does not rely on separate piece of single physical hardware. There is no single point of the failure for communication or bandwidth bottleneck. So it actually uses the existing infrastructure itself to get the peering done. It doesn't use any of the gateways or the VPN connection or any other separate piece of physical hardware as such. So it just uses the existing infrastructure, whatever is available in the AWS data center to create the peering connection. Now let's understand that I have got three different VPCs. One is with 10.0.0.0 bar 16, other is 192.168.0.0 bar 24, 172.16.0.0 bar 16. So these are the three different VPCs I have. Now will I be able to peer between them? Yes, I will be able to peer A with the B with the C. Now if I want to peer A with the C, I will be able to do it. Or do you think can I send the data from the VPC A to C directly using the VPC B in between? No. So we cannot do the transit in between, right? So the data cannot be sent in between with the other VPC from VPC A to VPC C. That is basically called as transit connections. So we cannot have the transit connections, right? So it says clearly transitive peering is not supported. You need to have a direct connection between the VPC A and C if you want to communicate something from here to here. Okay, so now we are able to connect from VPC A to B, B to C. Now let's say tomorrow the VPC B becomes something like this 10.0.0.0 bar 24. Then in that case, is the VPC peering possible? No, it is not possible because the IP addresses will be overlapping. Even though it is bar 16 or it's bar 24, doesn't matter, but still the IP addresses are overlapping in this case, right? So it starts with 10 here, it starts with 10 here as well. So when I'm trying to ping connection from VPC A to VPC B, it doesn't know which VPC should it look forward for, right? As I said, the instances behave they are as if they are in the same network, right? So I can just say SSH minus I with a key pair and then EC2-user at the rate the private IP address. Now if I give the private IP address as 10.0.1.122, so it doesn't know whether to look in VPC A or whether to look in the VPC B. That is the reason. So if I'm trying to do the VPC peering between the two VPCs which have got the same CIDR block range, it is not possible. We call this as overlapping CIDR block ranges. So with the overlapping CIDR block ranges, we cannot have the peering connection. So the two important rules to be remembered: one, the transitive peering is not supported; two, the overlapping CIDR block ranges are not supported for the VPC peering. So we already have two different VPCs. One is with the 172.31.0.0 bar 16. First one is with the 10.0.0.0 bar 16. So let's go ahead and set up the peering in this case. So I'll go down to the peering connections. So I just need to click on create peering connection, and then it's going to ask me the name of the peering connection. So I'll just say AWS VPC peering, and then it asks me who is the requester. So I'll pick up AWS training as the requester VPC, which has got a CIDR block range of 10.0.0.0 bar 16, and it is in my account itself. So I'm going to make use of the another VPC from my account. So if you want to peer with some other account, let's say I want to peer with your AWS account, I just need to click here your AWS account ID and put your number of AWS account and then give the name of the VPC. So currently I'm going to make use of the VPC which is in my AWS account. So I'm going to make use of the default VPC. So I'm trying to peer between the VPCs which are in the same region, right? So specifically, I guess still that feature has not been come across where we can actually go ahead and peer the VPCs from the different regions yet. So we are just checking out how we do it in the same region. So I'll just go ahead and say it is in my account. This is the default VPC and this is the VPC that we have created. And then I'll just go ahead and say create peering connection. So the action has been completed successfully. I'll click OK and then come back here and refresh this page. So currently it says the status is pending request. Since both the VPCs are in my account, I just need to go ahead and click on the same request here and then just say accept the request. So in case if I send it to some other AWS account, they get this request and they have to personally accept the request and say that yes, I am allowing my VPC to be able to communicate with the other VPC of some other AWS account. Now we have actually set up across the VPC connection, peering connection. So both of these VPCs will be able to talk to each other. But there's one small change that we have to actually do at last, right? So we have to go down to our route table and then make the changes. So I'll go down to the route tables here. To the default VPC. So you can see that the VPC peering is now appearing in here. And we should be able to connect to any address inside the 10.0.0.0/16 and save this. So using this peering connection, this VPC should be able to connect to any IP address inside this VPC. Now if I want to send it other way as well, so I'll have to make changes here. So I'll again make change here. I'll have to first get the IP address range. So it is 172.30.0.0/16. And let's remove this. And I just need to again select the PCX, that is the peering connection, and then save this across. Right. So currently this has got only one subnet, so I'll also make it here as well. Right. So this is how simple the VPC peering has to set up. Just that I need to go down to the peering connections, first create a peering connection. So in that it will ask me what is the source VPC and what is the destination VPC. And once we have set that up, we are going to get the request inside the peering connections here, where I have to go ahead and accept the connection. So the moment I go ahead and accept it, it is now showing it is being in the approved or active state. After that, I just need to go ahead and make changes in the route table, where I will say what all traffic can flow from where it is going to flow, right? So using this PCX connection, the traffic from this VPC, that is 172.30.0.0/16, can now flow to the 10.0.0.0/16, and similar is the case with the other way around. So in the other VPC also we have set up this, saying that from 10.0.0/16 we should be now able to go down to any IP address in the 172.30.0.0/16. So this is how the peering connection is set up. So it's very simple, just that we need to create one peering connection, accept it, and then after that make changes in the route table. And now even if I have two EC2 instances in two different VPCs, both of them will be able to communicate with each other as if they are on the same VPC, or if they are on the same private network. So any questions or queries here on the setting up of a VPC peering?
Pawan, how about in different regions?
How about the?
How about different regions? I mean, now you have set in the same region, right?
Yeah. So currently I'll have to check out, because they said that in the reinvent they are going to roll out the service for that. So I'll just check it out whether that service has been currently rolled out or not, for creating the peering between the two VPCs in different regions. Until now it was not supported, but recently in the last reinvent which happened in December at Las Vegas, they said that they are going to put across this, but I'll have to just check out if that is actually rolled out or not, because I do not see anything in this here VPC peering connection. Because whenever we are going to create a peering connection here, we should be basically able to see in the drop down. So, or it should also ask maybe if some other region is required here, right? So we are not getting it. So I'll just check out that part of the rollout, whether it is already done, or maybe it is expected in 2018 sometime. So usually if we have to do between the two VPCs which are in different region, until now we used to do with this VPN connection. So we actually have customer gateway and the virtual private gateway. So usually in this case what happens is virtual private gateway which is there is on the side of the VPC. Customer gateway is something that is on the customer's office, that is on premises building, and in between them we actually have a VPN connection. So the same methodology can also be applied between the two different VPCs. So one VPC will have a virtual private gateway, the other VPC will have a customer gateway, and between both of them I'm going to set up a VPN connection. So until now they used to do that. So I'll just check out on the VPC peering whether it is rolled out for the different regions or not. Because if it has been done, usually it should show up in the options here itself, saying that I want to select a VPC from the another region itself. So let me check it out. I'll come back on this on the Monday and let you know.
Okay.
So, so that was about the VPC peering. Any questions or queries here on the VPC peering part? Okay. Now we just move on to the last part of our application services, that is with the workspaces. So what is a workspace? So workspace is basically nothing but a virtual machine, we can call it as. Now we all have been working in IT environment. Of course, sometimes there might be a request where we are working in a specific client project. They have given their separate VM in which we have to work across, right? So they have given the personal computer itself, not the laptop directly which we can carry home, but a kind of computer that is being in some other different location or remote location itself. So we are just trying to work on that, and that is nothing but something like a cloud based desktop, we can call it as. So it is a VDI, that is virtual desktop interface. A workspace is a cloud based replacement for the traditional desktop. A workspace is available as a bundle of compute resources, storage space, and the software applications that access that allow user to perform day-to-day tasks just like a traditional desktop. It is as same as a traditional desktop, nothing difference on that, just that you will be able to purchase it directly from the Amazon as well, from the workspaces category. So if I go down here in my AWS cloud and click on the services and then just go down to here on the right hand side, you see in the desktop and app streaming, we are able to see something called as workspaces. So if I go down to this workspace, it helps me to get one of them if I require. As a part of free tier, I'm not sure. Maybe I guess it is free for just 1 month if you want to configure it. But again, you're just going to get a very minimum capacity of the machine. Let's say here in this, it's not supported for Mumbai region. I'll just go ahead and pick up the London. Okay, so it's just going to ask you for how many users you want to actually set it up. You can also do, I guess usually for any remote desktop, we can have 2 users who can log in at the same time. And there are 3 steps with which we can do it. One is we have to select a bundle. And the second is we need to set up a password and download the specific file. And then we can start using the workspaces from anywhere. So when I click on the get started now, it is going to show me the different bundles. I'll just directly go to the bundle. Okay, so first thing is I need to create a directory here. Let me check out. So directory would be something, I guess, the space that I would actually require on the cloud. So usually in the cloud, we have most of the directories which are network based, like it is like EFS. Okay, okay, so this directory about the Microsoft AD or the AD connector. Yeah, so the good thing about this is like even I don't have to create a user in the IAM. Let's say I have got a company of 10,000 users, and now I'm actually trying to outsource a project to the third party company who are going to develop the application for me. I don't need to add them to cloud account anymore. I can straight away create their accounts in the Microsoft Active Directory of my company, and I can create the user ID and passwords, and using that user ID password itself, they are going to log in into this virtual desktop interface. So that is about the directory. So once we create the directory, there are certain more steps. I'll also check out in this. Yeah, then we can go with the workspace bundles and the images. Images is basically the backup that you can actually take for your workspace that happens automatically, like it happens for the database. So in this, I'll just show you the bundles. Here it will be. Yeah. So when we come to the pricing here, yes, here it is showing. So what all hardware options are available? So if you're going to pick up some machine in North Virginia, you're going to get one virtual core of CPU with 2 GB of RAM and 80 GB of the root volume, and extra volume if you want of 10 GB, you can go with it. And the monthly pricing is going to be $25 per monthly pricing is minimum $25, and on top of it, you have to pay a hourly price of $7.25 per month or $0.22 per hour. So if you want to pay it for one complete month using it 24/7, you can go with $7.25. So the cost of this machine is going to be 25 plus $7.25. And if you go with a standard one, which gets at least a better performance, like with a 4 GB of RAM, then the cost is going to increase a little more. And then we have the performance based machines, power based machines, graphics based machines. So you can go with any of these kind of things. And in this case, whatever Windows is being provided, right? So if you're trying to use a Windows operating system, the cost of Windows operating system is included in this. Now the second option is buy your own license. So if you already have the license of the Windows along with you, then you can use that one also by keying in your license key. So the cost will come down to $4 per month. So you can use that BYOL method, that is buy your own license method. And we also get a bundle, as I said. So in this bundle, if I want the utilities like Internet Explorer, Firefox, 7-zip software, and then the Microsoft Office or the antivirus and other things. So all these are additional packages. So utilities are given for no extra cost. But if I want to put across the Office or the antivirus and other things, they come with a $15 of extra charge per month. So you can just imagine if I'm going to go with a 4 virtual core of CPU, which has got 16 GB of memory, and if I go with the 80 GB of hard disk itself, so it is going to cost me $66 plus $7.25 per one complete month plus $15 per month. So it is approximately around 15 plus 22 plus 6, around $90 approximately per month for the machine, which has got 4 virtual cores of CPU and 16 GB of RAM with 80 GB of space. So this is how we are going to get a system configuration with. Right, so workspace is available as a bundle of compute resources, storage space, and a software application. So we just saw what is the compute capacity, what is the storage capacity, and what is a software application that will be pre-installed for us. A user can connect to a workspace from any supported device, from a PC, MacBook, Chromebook, iPad, Kindle, Android, or tablet. So you can connect to this desktop from anywhere. It doesn't matter. You just need to have the IP address of the machine, user ID, and the password, and then you will be able to do it. And for this, you don't need to have an account in AWS as well. Just that if you are working in some company, that company's Active Directory credentials can also be used, provided your company, whenever it is creating a workspace on the AWS, as we just saw, it has to integrate the directory first, and then once the Active Directory integration is done, I can straight away use my credentials of the company and log in into the workspace. So what all we get in the workspace, we usually get a Windows 7 at this point of time. And by default, users can personalize their workspace. So you can play around with your own workspace. You can manage it as and when you want to play with the wallpapers, icons, shortcuts, anything. And this can be locked down by administrators. So as an administrator who is pinning up this workspace can lock down all these options if required. And by default, you will be given local administrator access, so you can install your own applications. And the workspaces are persistent storage devices, and all the data in the D drive is backed up every 12 hours. So the backup is going to come and stay inside this as a form of image, and you do not need any AWS account to log into the workspace. So I can just, as I said, we can log in with my company's credentials itself. So that was all about the workspaces. So any questions or queries on this part?
Is it applicable only for Windows or Unix as well?
Currently, it is for Windows only.
So is it similar to like Citrix?
Yes, yes, similar to Citrix.
So the only main difference between the workspace and normal instance is the software applications are pre-installed, right?
Yeah, basically it is like a virtual machine itself, right? So it is the place where we do the day-to-day work, and what we use in the instances is servers, that is Windows 2012 server or Windows 2016 server, and this is basically the
Workstation.
Windows 7 operating system and other things, right? So those are the, yeah, the image will be little different. However, we can see as for the end users, like who are very normal, right? So like let's say who just don't want to buy a computer and maybe want to connect it for a little while and play around with it. For them, this should be fine. But as we know how to play around with the servers, then it should be okay for us directly to spin up any server as a part of free tier, and we can actually use it. But this is at a long time for a very big companies where they actually want to give their workers play with it. Like I am working in a project which is Aviva, so where they have their actually workspaces in the London itself. So they have spinned up the workspaces in the London AWS. So they have created the workspaces there, and whenever a new person joins in our project, they specifically allocate a new workspace, and the credentials will be like whatever I have got from my Aviva. I log in into that, and I do my daily day-to-day work in that specific virtual machine itself. I have to just basically connect from here and work in that computer every day. And from there, I'm connecting to my AWS servers. So why they are using in that way is they just want to secure the complete connection to the AWS. So to their AWS, no one should be able to connect from outside the Aviva network. So they have actually created the virtual machines. And only from that virtual machines, I'm able to log in into the APC that has been set up for the Aviva. So even if I try it from outside this, I'll not be able to do so.
So it's just like a gem box.
Yeah, yeah, it's just like a jump box.
Thank you.
So any questions or queries before we close the session for the day here? Okay. So in the next part of our class, we are going to go ahead with the cloud front. So let me see. I was just trying to play around with the cloud front yet. So I was trying to do a lab for one of the other batch. So it usually takes a lot of time for the cloud front to work with, but I'll still just see if it is working or not. Yeah, it's still not working. Okay, anyway, we'll do a practical lab for the CloudFront in our case, and we'll check out on that. Thanks all. Have a nice day, and we'll meet back again on the I guess there are a few holidays in between for 4 days, and then we'll be meeting back on Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Yeah, so maybe Tuesday or Wednesday we are going to meet next. So we'll keep informed. Uh, and in regarding to the video, I guess there was no audio, right, for that specific part for one of those. So I'll just check it out
No.
and let you know.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks all. Have a great day.